I have to be honest, like, after Don Garber made that comment about, well, if you didn't know, over the weekend, I think it was either Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, but this past week, Don Garber basically stated that MLS is not pleased with participating in the U.S. Open Cup, and that the league is pretty happy that the U.S. Open Cup has a low attendance or a low viewership because of the way how things are ran. And I don't have a problem with what Don Garber has stated. As much as I like the U.S. Open Cup, the U.S. Open Cup, from my observation from just the past 2 seasons watching it in 2022 and 2023, the U.S. Open Cup, it looks more like a recreational event. It looks more like PE instead of a professional, prestigious event. U.S. Open Cup has to make that transition from PE to prestige. It has to be viewed as something special, because right now, it's not only MLS teams that's treated as a recreational activity. Even USL Championship teams treat it as a recreational activity. When a USL Championship team plays against an amateur team like a Tulsa Athletic, they don't play all of their key players. And that's one of the reasons why Sacramento almost got eliminated earlier in the Cup. All their key players weren't playing in the game. So it's the higher level teams view the lower level teams as inferior. They think they're far better than them. And it really hurts the image of the Cup. So those things have to be addressed. And I'm going to talk more about that later this week. But for this particular monologue, I'm going to talk about you, Monterey Bay Football Club. Now, Monterey Bay, I have to be honest, I don't know much about you. But one thing I do know is that this game against LAFC on Tuesday in around the 32 is going to be the biggest match of your lifetime up to this date. And the good thing about this Monterey Bay is that you're catching LAFC at a time where they're at their weakest. One thing that we all learned after watching the San Jose LAFC match in Santa Clara this past weekend for MLS MD11 was that LAFC is human. LAFC is not a robot. LAFC is not invincible. LAFC is defeatable. It is very possible to defeat them. And you, Monterey Bay, you are catching them at the right time because they just got off CCL semifinal play. And then after that CCL semifinal play, they had to instantly prepare for a game against San Jose. And now they're having another short turnaround of events and getting ready to play you, Monterey Bay. So they flew out to San Jose, flew back to LA. Now they're going to have to fly back out to the Bay, Monterey Bay, in a few days. And look, it doesn't matter if it's commercial flight or regular flight. These people are still humans. And all that travel and combined with physical activity in multiple days, your body eventually gets worn out. And that's what we saw against San Jose on match day 11, MLS match day 11. So, Monterey Bay, you're catching them at a point where they're at their weakest. And this is the best opportunity that you may ever have in your lifetime, Monterey Bay, to beat LAFC. As a result of that, Monterey Bay, each and every person, player in that locker room should have extra motivation for that. Each and every player should not be nervous, should not be scared, for there's no reason for you to be fearful. Because San Jose showed us that LAFC are humans. They're not robots. They're not created players off a EA Sports game. They're regular human beings just like you and me, Monterey Bay. Monterey Bay, they get tired the same way you get tired. They make mistakes the same way you make mistakes. So there's no reason why any one of you players on that Monterey Bay roster should be nervous or be fearful. If anything, you should be extra excited. Here's another catch, Monterey Bay. A lot of you, or most of you, aspire to play in MLS someday if you haven't done so. Or to play in Liga MX. Or to play for one of the big 5 Euros like the Premier League or La Liga or Bundesliga or Serie A or League One. Some of you may aspire to play for the top leagues in Brazil or Egypt or Saudi Arabia. Well, guess what? You can use this match against the best team in MLS to showcase your talents to scouts who may be paying attention to Dene Buenga and Kwando Opapku from LAFC, but then your style of play on the field automatically grabs their attention. Monterey Bay, this happens more common than you know. Usually, the top scouts, they show up to a game because they're scouting a great player for the team, but then there's a few, like 1 or 2 players on the opposing side who outplays the star player that's being recruited. And then all of a sudden, that underrated player from the underdog, he starts to get recruited by the bigger leagues. And this can be the case for some of you, or 1 or 2 you Monterey Bay players this week. So that's another thing that you should keep in mind. And then another thing, lastly, the 831. I never heard of the 831, but now I'm aware of the 831 because of you, Monterey Bay. You guys are putting the region on the map this week in the U.S. Open Cup round of 32. You're putting Monterey County on the map. You're putting Santa Cruz County on the map. And you're putting San Benito County on the map. The U.S. Open Cup is a great opportunity for lower level leagues that are beneath MLS, to promote their brand and to promote their image. And you, Monterey Bay, you're going to be on the biggest stage because you're playing the best team in Major League Soccer. So take advantage of the opportunity. Get excited. There's no reason for any of you to be fearful or nervous because LAFC is human, just like you. And let's see what you do in the U.S. Open Cup round of 32.